Hey, welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you. Hope everybody's doing fantastic out there. If you guys could subscribe to this channel, that'd mean a lot to me. And also watch the Tobin and Leroy show weekdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Won't be in on Monday for the show. I'll be back Tuesday. I will be doing the pregame show tomorrow, Game Day Uncensored. That'll be at 4 o'clock. So check that on out if you guys are watching this before Monday or on a Monday. Happy Monday. Have a good week, everybody. I was boots on the ground. On Sunday, I was at Heat practice. I went to Heat practice and went to check out the boys after a loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers on Friday. They had Saturday off, so they got a little practice in before heading off to Charlotte. And went for a couple of reasons. You know, I haven't been around the arena as much as I'd like to. I will be there this week. But I want to get back around the team, for one. And two, just to kind of see maybe there'd be a big injury update. Obviously, we have a lot of stuff looming with Tyler Herro and Bam Adebayo and where things stand. And I will say, like, you know, if you guys don't know with Heat practice, you don't really get to see practice. You know, you get to see, like, working out on the side. Maybe you'll see a little 2-on-2. You know, you'll see some, you know, shooting drills. Every once you'll see maybe one. Rarity, you'll see like a Jimmy Butler one-on-one session where he's like, you know, would face Udonis Haslem, or maybe some, you know, poor Sioux Falls player who just, you know, he needs a body to get some shots against. But normally it's, you know, 3-point shooting drills, especially with like the Sioux Falls guys. They're usually going last and doing some kind of competition with themselves. And, you know, if a guy is injured, you'll see them doing some individual work and things like that. So you don't see like these guys scrimmaging. You don't see the Hunger Games that they typically talk about. But obviously it was an interesting experience with everything that is hanging over the Heat right now. So get there. First thing that I noticed is Bam. Bam was doing some, it looked like some, they had like one of those rubber bands where they're trying to do some flexibility stuff. And so he was doing some drills with that, which was good to see. Still not available for the Hornets game, but he's apparently traveling, and a lot of the times they say that's an encouraging sign that he's nearing a return. But it's not like he's being left back. Like, for example, Tyler Herro, Haywood Highsmith also both out, but they are not traveling. They are staying back in Miami. Didn't see much from Tyler today. I saw him, he was doing some floaters, some layups at a basket. Nothing that, you know, was up against another person or competing against another person. So wasn't much there, but did see him walk by me, and I'll say it didn't look like he was limping. But again, he's not playing basketball, so I don't know what to take of that. And, you know, I don't know, you know, if he was taped out for the workout or what, but he looked in good spirits. And you're hoping that he's going to be returning soon. I think I saw Anthony Chang report the other day that there's a hope that Tyler and Bam are both going to return this month, which only has 20 days left. So you're hopeful that it is soon. Ton of home games coming up before Christmas. I did, you know, so you saw that, and, you know, saw a little workout. I did see RJ Hampton shoot a little bit. That dude lit it up. He was looking really, really good. He was working out with Nikola Jovic, who is one of my favorite guys to see work out because he's very vocal when he works out, and it's fun to see him in action doing his thing. And yeah, that was kind of the only other, you know, that's the only things of note that I really saw around. They were doing this like light testing thing that was kind of cool. But I went there to ask about what this Heat team can do, because I was under the assumption I was going to go, obviously, if we got the news going there. If we got the news that the guys are coming back, that was the big story. If they weren't, what are they going to do with these guys out? Like, that's the big thing that we got to look at right now. What are the Miami Heat going to do with no Bam Adebayo and no Tyler Herro and Haywood Highsmith for the time being? And how do they get back to rattling off some wins, which they really haven't done since the beginning of November when they went on that win streak? Guys who spoke to a group setting, they had Kevin Love, Caleb Martin, Erik Spoelstra. Asked them all basically the same question as to where they are. Caleb thinks that, and the way I prefaced it pretty much to everybody was, hey, aside from the idea of you not having Bam and not having Tyler, what the hell do you guys need to do to rattle off some wins here? Like, what is the thing that will get you to that point? Caleb Martin seems to think it's on the defensive end.
Caleb, is there something that you think you guys need to do aside from, I know guys are out right now, but is there a consistency you guys are seeing that you need to kind of get the wins racked up?
Yeah, I just think that we need more lockdown on defensive end consistently all the way throughout the game. We have really good moments. I think we just need to be able to try to sustain those moments and just do a better job on locking in and getting the ball to our guys, to our main guy. With Jimmy getting us going, and just more attention to detail. Little stuff can be fixed. I think we know what we should be doing. We just we'll do a better job executing.
And I tend to agree with him. Like, it's one of these things where I think that for Miami, they have shown in these games. It's not like that. There hasn't been many games where it's like they got the doors blown off them. That's just not typically how they do. Everybody always says they just play so damn hard. And I'll get to Kevin Love here in a second, but he's even just like, that's the staple. Even when I was playing this team for 14 seasons, like no matter who's there, you're going to get a good punch from them. And I do feel like Miami has had moments where they've had the good punch. It's just like, what can they clean up in those bursts? And it's typically just, I don't know. It just feels like this team has these lapses that just last for so long. And they're typically getting sloppy with the basketball. It ceases for them to be scoring. And you have teams just going on 13-1 runs, 14-0 runs, and we've seen it both ways. Like, they always say it's a game of runs, blah, blah, blah. But I think with the talent that Miami has and what they can show, like, I don't know if it's just a question of in the regular season playing that balls to the wall style is not sustainable, so they kind of try and take the temperature of a game and see when is the time to pounce and get in there. But it was, I think that Caleb is kind of onto something there. Kevin Love asked him something similar, and he said, though, they need Tyler and Bam, no question about it. He didn't question that. He does think that perhaps the team does need a better sense of urgency for being a quarter of the way into the season.
Kevin, other than just getting guys back, what do you think is the key to just consistency like you guys kind of were early in November getting on a roll there? What do you think is the things that stand out for you to get on a roll again?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think a lot of teams talk about a sense of urgency, not getting complacent. We're 20 games in, so about a fourth of the way through. We just obviously need to get those guys back. They add so much to our team, and I think our depth is our strength. But at the same time, we have enough to win, especially going against Miami for 14 and a half seasons. You've always seen when they have guys out, they still find a way to win. And I say we find a way to win when we have guys out, we have guys that are banged up, guys are in and out of the lineups. It's an opportunity type league. Everybody's always a play away from playing significant minutes or getting an opportunity. So I think our guys are certainly hungry for that. We all celebrate each other. We all support each other. But certainly need to find that sense of urgency in everything that we do.
Playing the same two teams for the next 4 games, how much is that like an adjustment, having to like make small scheme adjustments in between games? How difficult is that? Yeah,
no, I think it's hard being the same team twice in a row. You see that in the playoffs with matchups all the time, but this is a good opportunity for us, especially playing 3 out of the 4 games at home. So we go on the road. I think that's going to be a good opportunity for us to be that us against the world type mentality. Knock that first one out, and then we'll go from there. But certainly a big homestand coming up for us as well, where we can hopefully capitalize on all that.
And I think that's an interesting thing because, I do think that it's interesting getting Kevin's perspective. Obviously, he's been around for a while. And has been on teams that have contended. He's been on some real stinker teams too. Those post LeBron teams. Oof, he's kind of seen it all. And I think this last game, perfect example. Like, he can give you those nights where he's really contributing for Miami and doing a great job and getting a gazillion rebounds in 2 seconds and getting the offense going. But I think a lot of the times, his offensive nights are going to be dictated on, is he having a good shooting night or not? Which, a lot of the role guys did. Sense of urgency, I don't know. Like, the only, I don't know if that's something that has to really be dictated by Jimmy Butler because, Jimmy has put out there like, hey, I think we're mediocre right now. That's not where we want to be. But I do think that there is a little bit of, hey, the car's going to go as best as their best driver takes it. And, I don't think that the last game I felt like Jimmy was dogging it. I don't ever feel that way, but I think that, it just felt like one of those nights where like the jumper was flat, the game was kind of flat, and there wasn't that next gear to go find it for him. Just a really, really tough night all around for him. You're going to have that every now and then. So this was Spo's thoughts on where they're at. And he thinks that there's a couple, basically Spo's interpretation of it is he thinks they're a couple tweaks away from getting on a roll. He thinks that the opportunities have been there.
So you guys are used to not having some of your heavy hitters at a time in the season. Is there a common thing that you do go to when an all-star or Tyler or Bam is out for a consistent period of time?
Well, we've played a good enough basketball to have opportunities to win a few more games. We have guys out, and that's just what the deal is. We can't make excuses for it or expect anybody to play you differently. I think we've done enough to be able to win some more games. Our offense definitely has, even with guys out, has been much better. And defensively, we were on the right track, before the last game was actually some good things. But the 3 games before that, then we took a step back. Just need to put it together regardless of who's in or who's out. We're not making excuses.
Typical Spo of like not being anywhere near panic mode for him. And that guy, the thing I always marvel with Spo is he's got a better pulse for his team than anybody ever does. Usually what he is seeing is 4 steps ahead of what everybody else is seeing. It's usually like, oh, you had a 2-6 road trip, or you had you guys are 500. Yeah, but he'll like, but no. I like what we're doing. I like what we're seeing. I like this. And so, yeah, I don't think that the Heat are far off. There's been some embarrassing ones for sure. I think like the Knicks is the one you look at the most and you're just like, ugh, that one stinks. That one is hard, but it's also like, it is a reality of it too, like it's hard to get into this point where I think as a Heat fan, you could be annoyed, but it's hard to panic because especially with a team led by Jimmy and Bam, when they're healthy, how good they are. And they are still in a fine spot. They're not where they were, where it was like 1-4 and it just looked like, oh my God, this is just an absolute disaster. I will say they got to take advantage of this week, this upcoming week against Charlotte and against Chicago. I don't think anything less than 3-1 is really acceptable. I think if you tell me this team, barring Jimmy going down 2, like this team going 2-2 against these 2 opponents in 4 games is not acceptable. They need to fatten up a little bit. They do need to get their record right because they got a big time matchup coming up against the Minnesota Timberwolves, a team they don't typically play well. And, we'll see. And the other thing that's interesting with this is, with this team, they have had times where they haven't had Tyler and they've had somebody who can go and score. And they've had times where they haven't had Kyle and they have other guys who can facilitate, and they have times where there's no Jimmy, and then Tyler and Bam have their little moments, but it's hard to replace Bam Adebayo. It is. That's and that's what kind of goes to what Kevin was saying is like, well, yeah, you kind of just you need him back, and hopefully he'll be back, sooner than anybody who is up to, because you don't really know with Tyler right now, but it's hard to replace Bam. They really have only had to do that a couple of times in his Heat career where he's missed multiple games in a row. He had the thumb surgery, and Spo did a masterful job with that, where he used PJ Tucker to unlock a lot of the facilitating that Bam did. And I mean, hell, PJ Tucker's probably longing for those days as far as shots are concerned. And then we saw in the NBA Finals, like they were able to get a win without him, but it was a struggle. Like it's hard to replace that guy. Everybody's always looking to say what his true position is and what a better fit for him is, but it's hard when he's not there. It is not easy shoes to fill. And I don't know what the right answer is. I think Orlando Robinson has definitely had his moments. But he's not the defender Bam is. He's got some really exciting things that he seems to bring from an offensive standpoint. Kevin Love obviously, can rebound with the best of them still sometimes on certain nights, and he can throw that ball down and get the offensive spark, and he brings a lot of leadership intangibles. But he's never been even in his prime wasn't the defender Bam was. But this is one of those things where hopefully they get him back soon. But in the meanwhile, they can find that consistency to get some wins, especially against Chicago and Charlotte. This needs to be a very, very good week for the Miami Heat.